This is East Carolina Offensive Coordinator Donnie Kirkpatrick. We are talking one of my favorite things, Pirate football, on the Sports Objective.
My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul, and I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode, from the sidelines down to the post. Put it down like not even close. All out to the last whistle blow. From the flag of the soul and crossbones. Everybody stand up, get your hands up. Let the team know that we got they back. This is our house, this is our town, our time. Record 19 copy.
How about those friggin' Pirates?
Welcome into the Sports Objective here on a Monday evening. Glad to have each and every one of you live now on Facebook and YouTube. And, of course, you can listen anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast from all the way in the great western part of the state of North Carolina. Bubba Rosenbaum from China Grove. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Dave. Hope you are.
Yes, sir. In fact, we have a good friend of ours in the second half of the show, Brian Meador, is coming on, an all ECU show. But very excited to have this guest on our first time for the show.
Yeah, first time we've had this guy on, as you mentioned. We had his predecessor on a few times, but
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Justin Behr, and obviously the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement with East Carolina. And Justin, we appreciate your time this evening.
Appreciate y'all having me. Excited for the inaugural, the maiden voyage, I guess I should use for the pirate term there.
No doubt, and glad to have you. And especially, I know a lot of hard work and thankless job. You work really hard behind the scenes. And for people that are just getting to, maybe they don't know exactly what you do, can you tell the fans about for ECU and beyond about what's your daily schedule, or what do you do?
So the easy way the simple way I always put it is, my job is to get people to the game, and once they're at the game, make sure that they have a good time. So I'll come up with a lot of the planning. So I handle football and women's lacrosse, and then I have on my staff another member who does soccer, men's basketball, and softball, and then another that does volleyball, women's basketball, and baseball. So we kind of all manage our different sports, and we come up with the plans, the promotions, those sorts of things. And then kind of the in-game, we kind of manage all the in-game promotions you see, the contests on the field, the half times, all that stuff, and then music and coordinating video board and all those sorts of things, all the fun stuff that's not the stuff inside the lines.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to remind fans they can get season tickets 1-800-DIAL-ECU. Or simply, Justin, I'm 50 years old now, and I used to do the walking up to the ticket booth, or I would actually call the 1-800 number. But over the last year, it's Bubba's fault. He got me. I had to learn how to transfer tickets to him, and then I started using the website ecupirates.com. So it's all his fault. He's the reason why now an old dog, as a cliche, can learn a new trick.
Yeah, the nice thing about ECUpirates.com is if, maybe you've had a few pirate beverages and it's 10:30 at night and you decide that you finally want to make your commitment to season tickets, you can do that. You don't have to worry about somebody being in the ticket office to answer that phone call.
Yeah, and I love to call. Go ahead,
and Dave, very quickly, while we had that graphic on the screen, just wanted to provide an update. Speaking to Coleman, Spain earlier this afternoon, we were just shy of 14,000 season tickets sold.
I'm very excited about the increase. We're trying to get I know that we may be more realistic of 15,000, but we got to get that number to 16,000. And Justin, I know how hard you work with tickets and with Coleman and everybody, but explain to Pirate Nation how important it is to, I know, and Bubba knows, and maybe a lot of the fans listening and viewing, but for those that don't know, explain to them how important it is for people to buy season tickets.
Yeah, I mean, season tickets is sort of the lifeblood of the program. If we hit that, 16,000 number, that amount of revenue that we're generating really opens ourselves up to be able to do some different things, and it provides us extra resources that can go to coaching staffs or allow us to do different things for some of that fan experience, fan engagement stuff. So having that base is great. And, obviously the single game buyer is great. And I understand that there are, there's fans across this state, like Bub, I know is from the western part of the state, and it can be a big commitment to buy season tickets, because making that drive six Saturdays year is hard, but so I understand that there's going to be single game buyers, but season tickets are that lifeblood, and we need those people to be there. And I think the biggest thing that I appreciate everybody buying season tickets, but the biggest thing that they can do beyond that is if there are those games that you can't go, find a neighbor, find a
Right.
brother, a sister, or whatever, and give those tickets to somebody else. Because while I love that we could hit 16,000 sold season tickets, it'd make me even happier if we had 16,000 of those season tickets used every game. So I think that's beyond buying the season tickets. It's also making sure that they're getting used.
And Bubba, I think what you need to do is near some of our friends that are in our group text. I think what you need to do is buy a house right there near the stadium, so that way whenever the game is over, you can hang out with us, and you don't have to quickly leave and drive a few hours. Was it about 3.5 hours away?
For me, it's about 3 hours and 15 minutes to China Grove. For my parents in Lexington, it's just shy of 3 hours, about 2 hours and 50 minutes. But, that's long been a joke. When will the Rosenbaums move to Greenville? And, it's large, it's just been for family reasons, that my parents have stayed around because they want to be closer to the grandkids. But who knows? It may happen at some point. But,
They can
Justin,
retire in Greenville.
yeah,
So
before we talk more specifically about this season, both in regards to football and men's basketball, et cetera, Justin, just, for Pirate Nation, they've heard you on other programs, probably, but if they have not, give folks your background. You're an East Carolina guy, but you also had GA experience at LSU.
Yeah, so my kind of path to ECU is actually an interesting one. The first ECU game I ever went to was well prior to my time at ECU. I was actually an undergrad at Ohio, so I was at the bowl game in St. Pete back in 2013-14. So I was finishing up my undergrad there. I spent a year as an intern at the University of Evansville, which also has a little ECU history. I think they played in a CIT or CBI or one of those at one point. But then after that, I went and spent 2 years at LSU as a graduate assistant in marketing and fan engagement, and then made my way here in 2017, and have been here in Greenville ever since. I did take a 1-year hiatus. I thought that I was ready to do something else in life, and I realized after 51 weeks that this is what I love to do, and coming to work and doing this is way better than a lot of other jobs. And there's sacrifices I make, but my first day back was NC State last year, and I tell people we were getting ready to do Purple Haze, and my hand was like this because I just had so much adrenaline going and all that. So I'm so glad to be here back at ECU. This place is special. So.
yeah, no question. In fact, I hear the administration say all the time, which is true. There's times when our fans are, passionate, but at least we have a great fan base. At least we have the passion there that is fantastic. And you look at when you look at the season tickets, by the way, there's a lot of people I've heard to say, well, there's not that ACC school like NC State, like you and I were talking in the green room before the show. But at the same time, when you look at the brand names, you got Marshall on there,
Mm-hmm.
and then Gardner Webb is a really good FCS program in the month of September. There's a lot of other good games coming up, and so for me, it shouldn't matter. I told you this ahead of time before the show. It shouldn't matter who the Pirates are playing. We need to go out there and support them. But I know there's also some people that they're looking at I have people that I know that they look at the beforehand to see the season. Am I going to buy season tickets? And they say, oh, there's no this team or that team on there. And I was like, you really can't do it, judge it by that, because to me, I'm amazed at how quick the fans try to get out of the stadium, because there's only, like you said, out of 52 weeks in a year, there's only 6 Saturdays we get a chance to tailgate, enjoy Purple Haze, and enjoy the stadium and the atmosphere.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I do understand that there's not name brand programs on the schedule, but there is still a lot of good football teams on the schedule, and at the end of the day, I think the old saying is we're going to watch the Pirates. I mean, it shouldn't really matter who we're playing, and I understand that. I would love if we played NC State and South Carolina and Virginia Tech and UNC every year. That's great. But like you said, there's plenty of good programs. Marshall, I mean, we played a great game against them last year. Charlotte, it's great now having an in-state foe on our schedule. There's going to be some natural rivalry there. SMU is a great program. Tulane, there's plenty of good games on the schedule, and they might not be name brand programs, but there's still going to be great football games all year long.
And who knows, they might be going to the Pac-12. That's another show, as they say. But when you look at those programs, I mean, SMU. When you look at Tulane, like we talked about or before the show about how they beat USC, with them, so there's a lot of great programs in the American. I think the American is a very underrated conference even with the new schools coming in. I like the likes of the UABs of the world, the FAUs. There's a lot of.
I think UTSA is going to.
Yeah,
UTSA might win this conference this year.
Yes.
And they're a great team as well. So,
no doubt,
plenty of great football teams in this conference.
If you have questions for Justin, you can put it in the chat for sure on Facebook and YouTube, and maybe Bubba, we'll see if we can take some phone calls. I don't know if you mind, Justin, that or not. It's a new wrinkle to our show. We'll see about that.
I like taking risks.
Okay. All right.
We'll see what happens. I might regret making this decision later, but I think we'll be okay.
All right.
Now, kind of as Dave has referenced, and Justin, it's tough to engage fans when you don't have them, but fortunately in East Carolina we have great, passionate Pirate fans, and so just talk about headed into 2023, some of those things that maybe you've done in the past that you're looking to tweak a little bit, the elements of the game day atmosphere that make Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium so special.
Yeah, I mean, I think the great thing that we have is the tradition that we have is that, coming in here, and this will be my 6th football season, 5th, whatever it is, we don't need to change a lot. What we're doing is great. There will be some subtle changes, some things that we're working on that aren't finalized yet. So I don't want to say that we're doing them for sure. But some good things I think in the works. I know what's going around today that Port City's done, but I think Jarrett Osmick and his team are doing the intro video this year, and I think if he can create what he wants to create, I think it's going to become a modern spin on a intro video that some people out there have seen before. So, we're excited about that. Playfly is working to sell some new different promotions. I think if y'all remember the punt catching contest that I think fans really used to like, that's coming back, I think, this year. They've got some new things that they're going to try out. And, sometimes with those in-game things, they sound great in the meeting room, and then we do them on the field and we're like, that was not what we hoped for. But I think we're good with what we're doing this year. So, I think the few things that are lingering out there, I think are going to be really great improvements, and hopefully over the next 6 weeks or so, we can lock those things in and make them happen. But, I think it's going to be a great football season.
No question, Bubba. I know we have a question from Brandon. I think you've answered it that he wanted to ask Justin.
Well, that is more a Coleman Spain question.
Yeah.
But Brandon had asked about the ticket sales for the Michigan game and through East Carolina, of course, not the secondary market or Michigan, but through our office, Brandon, we had sold between 2,000 and 2,500. But and that was as of at least 2 or 3 weeks ago. So those sales have gone very well. A lot of Pirates making that initial trip up to the Big House on September 2nd. But as it pertains to season tickets, Justin, talk about your role, working with the team there, with Coleman Spain, or with perhaps a Brian Meador or someone of that nature. But just talk about everyone coming together to market season tickets, and also then we'll dive into more of the game day atmosphere.
Yeah, I think where we're at from an internal perspective as a team, I think is as good as it's been since I've been here. The ship is all going in the same direction. But Coleman and I work pretty closely on kind of strategy and things like that. So we've kind of started pushing some different advertising avenues. We've been doing some Facebook marketing. We've started running commercials and billboards and things like that, because as I saw on day before we started, is this is sort of the lull period for season tickets generally, because you'll have initially when they go on sale, everybody goes buys. Then the renewal deadline comes, everybody's got to get their renewals in, and then you usually hit that lull after the renewal deadline of you'll get the trickling in of the people who aren't great at deadlines, but prior to those last couple of weeks right before the season where people are like, okay, season's here, now I got to buy my ticket. So we're working on trying to, continue to push and keep football season tickets on top of mind for people. Brian Meador does a great job. He makes all of our TV commercials and radio spots. So him and I work very closely on that and kind of coming up with a strategy and coming up with what those look like. But him and Brian Bailey basically do all those on their own, though, at the end of the day, because both of them are far smarter than I am when it comes to television and radio. So,
in fact,
now,
I heard
Justin,
one
of the staples of the game day atmosphere at Dowdy Ficklin is, of course, Purple Haze. Mm-hmm. So if you would just give us a behind the scenes glimpse, the timing elements of an entrance like that. I think back to Coach Holt's, Ruffin McNeil. So many times the Pirates would come through the Purple Haze, but then staying in the end zone before running onto the field. Coach Houston has changed that a bit, and so it's more of a timing element there, which I actually prefer instead of just coming out and standing in the end zone. So just talk about some of those timing elements.
Yeah, it's a science. It's funny when we have the military game every year. I love working at them and they love working with us because everything is timed out down to a second. Basically from about 30 minutes out until, that ball gets kicked off, it is all timed out pretty precisely. There's a couple elements in there that give us a little wiggle room if something runs long or something goes short where we can keep it going for a little bit longer, but it's all timed out pretty much exactly to the second. Mike is great because I do think Mike embraces the tradition of Purple Haze so much. And, having stood in that tunnel for Purple Haze before in my previous role here, I mean, you would have a hard time not being jacked up when you're standing in there. So, he holds them in there. And at the same time as he knows when we're going to go. So he knows how long to make his pregame speech and how to get that team in the right spot so that they're ready to go at the right time. But then honestly, having Steve the Pirate in there too kind of helps hold them because he knows until Steve goes, he doesn't go. So that's sort of that balance. But I mean, it's all planned out down to the second. It's a lot of a science than people think, but I love it. I love, getting all that right and watching it happen in all the right way. So
not to get off on too much of a tangent, but just kind of it wasn't funny at the time, but Pirate fans will remember, I want to say it was like perhaps 2012, the UTEP game. But Steve that you referenced, Steve the Pirate, put the sword in the turf, and Coach Ruffin McNeil could not see the sword because of the Purple Haze, and nearly busted it, tripping on the sword. And so a lot of Pirates will remember that.
Yeah, it's the biggest fear that I have now with our Purple Haze is that the purple smoke canisters that we have, they're basically what you would use for photo shoots, or they say that for like paintball and whatnot. And sometimes they don't always pop quite right. So my biggest fear is, because there's two of them, so my biggest fear is both of them not popping. That gives me anxiety because it's one of those things that's out of our control. But the good news is now with all that white smoke that they pump in behind it, I love the purple, but it's not like it's just an empty thing if those don't go off. But I think that probably gives me the most anxiety on game day, to be honest.
I hadn't even thought about that, but obviously that's your job, so for you to worry about
the things that I always tell friends and stuff, I'm like, don't go to sporting events with me because I'll notice all these stupid things that nobody else notices. But those are the little things that I'm worried about on game day. So.
And Bubba, I know that Alyssa has a question.
Yeah, so Alyssa Douglas chiming in on YouTube. Appreciate the question, Alyssa. She says, Justin, what is something you're excited about for the 2023 season?
Well, I'm glad that my fiance is supporting me because this is whose question this is. So I'm glad to know that she's listening to me right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think honestly the thing that I'm just most excited for is just to continue the trajectory that this program is on. Coming off 2 straight bowl seasons, I think the program is in the position to go for 3 straight. Um, and it's amazing the positive energy that the successful football program just resonates through here. I started here in 2017, so I was here for those last 2 years of Scotty, and it's hard when you're losing to to get excited. But now with all the success that we're having, not just in football but across the board, um, it makes things a lot more fun for I think not only ourselves but for the fan base.
Yeah, going back to 2018, I definitely don't want to spend a lot of time there. But
Me
since,
either.
but since you brought that up, it's still obviously was not good because the game would have been much more well attended. But after falling to North Carolina A&T, at least you did have North Carolina the next week because had it not been a big rivalry matchup
Yeah.
like that, who knows what we'd have had in the stands after such a disappointing loss.
Yeah. I mean, that I'll give Pirate Nation credit for. I was talking to somebody the other day. Um, even as lean as those years were, I mean, we still were having 30,000 people at those games. I know UCF and some of these other schools like to pump their chest right now as they're good about their attendance. But if they were having the years that we were having, it would be scarce there. So Pirate Nation just continues to show up, and I think it's a testament to them that even as bad as that was, they were still out there and they were still loud and they were still supporting. So
Yeah, and the way Pirate Nation is anyway, but could you imagine, if we produce something like UCF did, where they won about 20 straight games,
25.
Yeah.
The way Dowdy Ficklin Stadium would be.
It would be unbelievable. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking
Yeah.
about it, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
and I'll always say when a team's winning, my job gets really easy. If we're going undefeated, my job is much simpler. So, I'm the biggest one rooting for wins out there. So,
No question. In fact, I know with that first game with Michigan is like 36.5, and I was like, there's no way. And then coming back home to have that Marshall game, I believe it's a 4 o'clock kickoff, right, Justin?
that
Off
is
the top of
correct.
my
Yep.
head?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that's a great time. 3:30 is my favorite time slot, so I'll take the 4 because I'm not a morning person, so that gives me a chance to go to see my son's football game. Still, I live about 45 minutes away. Still, am able to come see the games and have a good time. And I know Bubba. I can't complain because Bubba is like we're talking about driving. 3 hours is still 3 hours, and the Rosenbaums. I tell you, I wish we had 50,000 Rosenbaums in the fan base.
I agree. Bubba won't like what I'm about to say. Noon is my favorite kickoff time because I'm going to be here all day anyway. At least we're done by 3:30 when we start at noon. But I understand from the fans' perspective, 3:30 and 6 works way better, and we'll adapt to what works best for you. And I know Bubba probably doesn't like the noon kickoffs, having to make that drive in the morning.
Yeah, and really, it's not even so much about the drive as much as it is. I certainly understand why the people involved, be it the coaches, players, or administrators like yourself, why you prefer the earlier kick so you can enjoy the game day atmosphere, but then also be able to do the other things you need to do or watch other college football games. But from my standpoint, I'd probably agree with Dave the mid afternoon. So because then you can still leave home without having to leave at 6 a.m. You can leave by 8 or 9, still have plenty of tailgate time, and then also be able to get back home and watch a little late night college football as well. So, but definitely does not determine whether I go to games, no matter what time it is. But another entrance element that I wanted to mention, because I thought of this because I saw a post earlier today on social media from Curtis Steeman and Port City Films. Excellent job with the entrance video over the last 5 years or so. But just talk about where things are moving there. It's going to be a little bit different this year. I've heard.
Yeah, Curtis, we had a great relationship with Curtis, but when he came in and he started, this was kind of his plan, is that he wanted to do it for about 5 years and then move on and do something different. And, he's so busy, and we can't thank Curtis enough for what he's done, because the quality of work that he's provided us and what he has gotten out of it is very unfair on his side. But he's a great ECU guy. He loves ECU, and so it was always his dream to make the intro video. Brian Meador could probably tell you more about the background on that, because him and Curtis are good friends. But going forward, Jarrett Osmick and the creative team are gonna take that on. It's something that he's been passionate about and something that he really wants to do. And like I said, he's got a vision for it, and I think if he pulls off what his vision is, I think our fans are going to love it, because it's going to be a modern twist on a former intro video that we used to have here. So,
And he is someone that we certainly want to have on the show. And I believe he actually played college football at Campbell, but he grew up in East Carolina. Guy, is that correct?
Yeah, I think he lives, his parents live right around the corner. His parents are season ticket holders. And yeah, he was a punter at Campbell, and I don't know if I'm allowed to tell a story, but I'm going to do it anyway. So his brother also was playing for Campbell last year. And I guess he was getting pretty close to being ready to hang it up and not really want to play anymore. But he saw Dowdy Ficklen on the schedule, and he said that I got to stick it out for one more year and play one more year. So Jarrett's brother actually played for Campbell last year, and he committed a personal foul penalty on the first play of the game. So that gave us all a good laugh. But yeah, Jarrett and his brother both played at Campbell, but they're from right around the corner.
Let's bring in Kyle from LaGrange Barber. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Somehow I had no idea we were doing this tonight. So we're talking intro videos.
Well, no, actually, Justin is the director of marketing and fan engagement. So anything with tickets, marketing, fan engagement, how we can, obviously they're always looking at ways they can improve things, and we've been talking about season tickets and different things.
Have we talked about the beer yet?
Not yet. No. R&D Brewing.
We're ready to talk about the beer. I was prepared to talk about the beer.
Let's talk about the beer. How did that come to be?
So it's been something, Playfly has kind of led the charge on it. It's been a conversation that's been happening over here for a while, and it was just trying to figure out the right partner and the right time to do it. So we finally decided R&D was going to be the ones to do it. Their experience with doing these sort of college collabs is kind of something that was attractive to us. So those will be rolling out, I think, in late August, right before the season starts. But we're really excited about it. I think our fan base is going to be excited about it. And, kind of the sales pitch I'm saying is every time you drink one of those beers, you're helping ECU, because we're making a little money on all of those beers. So make sure to stock your tailgate with the R&D beer. I haven't had the pleasure of trying it yet. I'm excited to do that. I'm hoping it's good. Everything I've had from R&D has been good, though, so I'm pretty confident that it will be.
Justin,
so do you know the percentage that we are getting from that beer? We meaning East Carolina?
I don't know what the exact percentage is, but generally we're kind of in, depending on what it is, it's between 10 and 20%. So we're getting a little bit of a kickback on every single case that's sold. I don't know what the final number got decided on, but we're kind of in that range. So we'll be getting a little bit out of every case that's sold.
And is this going to be a limited time thing, or if it sells well, is it something they're going to keep going as a regular thing, or to be determined, or what?
I think it's a to be determined. I'm pretty, knowing ECU and knowing their love for the Pirates, I'm sure it's going to sell well, and I'm sure it's something that R&D is going to keep going. But I think it's kind of a wait and see how it goes initially. But R&D obviously has their relationship with the Hurricanes, and Storm Brew sells like crazy, and then App and Wake and the Durham Bulls. So they're kind of in this market, and they kind of know what to expect.
Who came up with the can design? I really like using the throwback logo from the 70s.
We'll give another shout out to Jarrett. Jarrett Osmick designed the can with a little help from R&D and kind of some guidelines, but he was the one that did most of the can design.
You know, it was interesting, and I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but there's actually a commemorative Budweiser can that was put out in the 70s with that same logo on it. I don't know if you guys realize that.
My dad has that can in his office.
Did you guys realize that? Did that have anything to do with choosing that logo?
I don't know. I'll give Jarrett credit and say, yeah, he totally knew about that, and that's where he took all the inspiration from.
I thought when I saw it, that's immediately what I thought. I said, I wonder if they did that because if it's just a coincidence, it's a cool coincidence.
I think Kyle, it is a coincidence, but I could be wrong.
I'll get a picture of that next time I'm at my parents' house and put that on our social media. But I believe that it's the Budweiser logo on one side, and then the other side is white, and it has the pirate logo that Kyle's talking about, very similar, the vintage mark that we had on our helmets for the Tulsa game in 2019. And then it says East Carolina University Pirates.
Yeah, I believe you can find that on a Google search, Bubba. I believe that's how I came across it. So it's out there. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I think it's pretty cool that we're using that same logo, all these years later on another beer can. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it looks like a commemorative can, like we've won the national championship and something, and you have that. I really like the way that it turned out.
We did win the national championship in beer drinking, baby.
Yeah, we are professionals of that. So I think it's a great marriage. I think R&D Brewing, I appreciate them very much. And I'm by the way, Justin, I've had people on social media, different places asking, when is it going on sale? They're asking where they can buy it. There were some people I know on message boards, different things. They're saying, can we buy it in the Bubba's neck of the woods, the western part of the state, or Charlotte? That they're the Pirates in that part of the state. They want to know where they can buy it.
Yeah, I know it's scheduled to go on sale late August. You'll start seeing it in stores. I know for sure it's going to hit this eastern part of the state. Carolina Eagle Distributors, who works out of this part of the state, is the one that's going to be distributing it here. I'm not exactly sure on what their reach is in terms of if they're going to get out to the western part of the state. But I think the more demand for it is, the more it kind of entices them to figure out the ways to get it out that way.
Yeah, if there's enough call for it, they'll figure out how to sell it in the western part of the state.
Is it bootlegging if we go to the western part of the state with it in App Country?
No.
I
love Smokey and the Bennett.
Justin, so you marketing engagement, fan engagement at East Carolina. What I don't know what was talked about before I joined the show. I heard it sounded like we were redoing our intro video. You indicated to be similar to one in the past. I'm assuming it's going to be the one with the pirate ship coming in and the all that is what my assumption would be. But what else can we expect new this football season at Dottie Ficklin that we haven't seen in the past? Will there be any changes to music? I personally, Pirate Town, I thought was a great addition to our music post game. Is there anything else?
Yeah, we're working on something with our music right now. Haven't finalized it yet. I'm personally really excited if it comes to fruition. If it does, we'll definitely put something out about it. Music, I think, is from my side, I think is always the hardest thing because it's a personal preference thing and everybody likes something different. And there is such a wide variety and range of fans that are in that stadium that, at the end of the day, that there's going to be somebody who likes every song we play, and there's going to be somebody that probably hates every song we play.
It's just got to rock. It's just got to rock and get you going.
Yeah, we the new sound system, I definitely will say, we definitely started to lean into some things with a little more bass to them because when we do testing, when it's an empty stadium, it vibrates that stadium in there with that new sound system. So music is something we're always trying to stay on top of. And I do think if what we have planned comes to fruition, I think it's going to be really good for our experience in terms of the music. But
it's something that may or may not happen.
Yeah, we're working through some things and trying to lock something in. So I don't want to say what it is until we have it because I don't want to get people's hopes up and personally my own hopes up. So I do think it'll be something very positive for the experience, but we're working on it. So I think we're close to finalizing it, but we'll see.
Interesting.
I had a question for you as far as we're talking last week about NIL concerts and different things. Is there any plans? There are people like have been asking about Parmalee a couple years ago for the homecoming. Are there any things like that? That was a really cool element. I know that's something you can't do every time. It would kind of like wear out its welcome, but is that something you can sprinkle in maybe once a year?
Yeah, we're kind of working on right now from the concert side of things is bringing back some of that live music that goes on in the Pirate Club area, that the Carlin County Rogers area pregame, because we've gotten a lot of really positive feedback from fans just in that area that get to listen to it. But the way that area is it gets out there to the, even if you don't have access to it, it gets out into that tailgate lot. So I think we're going to try to work on getting some bands in that area pregame. Right now, no plans for the half times. It is a difficult process, and it is something that takes a lot of planning. And for me personally, I do think it wants to be something that is special, like bringing in a Parmalee and a national act like that is a big deal. And thankfully, with our relationship with Parmalee, that made that a little more feasible. But it's definitely something that's on our radar. It's discussions that we've had of trying to see how do we bring that back again? What does that look like? But I think this year, in the short term, I think we're looking to try to bring some concerts in pregame for fans as they tailgate.
Justin, can I make a request?
Yes, sir.
Can we please quit playing All We Do Is Win?
I knew you were going to ask that.
It is so stupid, generic, and played out. I hate it. I'm embarrassed. It really embarrasses the crap out of me. I'm ashamed. I'm like, what is this crap? What are we in 2008? I mean, quit. Just stop. It's horrible.
Well, see, that's the thing. There are people that really. That's what he was talking about, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, those people are lame. The people that like it are lame.
But that's the thing, though. There's more than one opinion.
No,
that's the thing. Yes, there is.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
No,
Kyle, what do you think about getting down into Pirate Town?
It's awesome. Getting down to Pirate Town is awesome. I dig that. That makes sense. That's unique. It's unique to East Carolina.
The reason, of course, it is. The reason I brought that up, Justin, is because that was something that Kyle, and then to give credit, Johnny Gardner as well. And Johnny Gardner had said that to me as well before Eric Ward and the staff back at the time, I guess, is the ones that put that into action.
Getting down to Pirate Town?
But what if there are people that don't like it, though?
Well, let's tell the true story on that. I'm sure Meador won't mind. I said, damn it, I'm so tired of not hearing getting down to Pirate Town East Carolina game. So I sent it to Meador. I said, Meador, get this to Eric Ward. And since he submitted it to Eric Ward instead of Kyle from LaGrange, we added it to the repertoire. But I will take full credit for that. But I hate All We Do Is.
Kyle, you learned a great lesson is when you get Brian Meador to do something, shit gets done when Brian Meador puts his head onto it. But I will let you know is that All I Do Is Win is a constant conversation here, whether or not we continue to play it or not. I always go back to, because it's the same thing as, I know people don't like Living on a Prayer, but
Living on a Prayer is great.
That's great.
But my thing, on my side of things, in the engagement side, is people engage with All I Do Is Win still to this day. Even if you go to non-ECU games, I've been at Carolina Hurricanes games where they play it, and that part where ECU gets chanted, even in PNC Arena, it gets chanted. So it is. I will tell you though, it is a conversation that comes up a lot. So
I'm not the only one that dislikes it.
No, you are not. Don't think that we are ignoring you. We hear your opinion, and we are listening.
Okay, good.
I don't know if it's time to retire it yet, but it is a conversation being had. We're not ignoring you.
Well, let's just bring back who let the dogs out, and maybe we can do Mambo number 5. And
yeah.
I know what I'm going to play all this music this year just to piss Kyle off.
That's
now Justin.
Yeah. Hey, Justin. back in like '96 or whatever, Macarena was really big. Like
God.
being a DJ, right? Throw in Macarena for me, because that song just like I had to play that song over and over as a DJ on air and doing mobile like private events. And so let's play Macarena. And what about Gangnam Style?
I got a real suggestion. One that I've always thought would be bad. I've never heard it played in any football game, and I've always thought it would be such a cool song for a football game. "Don't Tread on Me" by Metallica.
Okay.
Just check that song out, the build up to it, the lyrics. I mean, I think it would just be so appropriate for East Carolina football.
I will put it on my to listen to list.
How many? There you go. That's her. That's actually Justin's fiance, by the way. Alyssa says some of my best memories are screaming that song, and so she. I assure you, Kyle. I'm sure she has more weight than you.
Alyssa, your fiance likes it, but I almost kind of got. I'm not sure, Justin. Where do you stand on it?
It depends on the day, to be honest.
If we win, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah, please, don't play it when we lose. For God's sake.
Yeah, no.
I'm joking.
I promise you, I will never play it when we lose. But yeah, so it comes and goes. But I will say it brings good memories. When I hear all I do is win, it means that something good happened today.
No, it's right. That is true. It does bring up positive memories. Look, and be honest with you, and I'm being honest. Yeah, if the majority likes it, then it should stay. I don't like
Meador.
See, now I'm gonna get this now from both sides.
There you go. Meador says
thanks, Kyle. I appreciate it. Now I'm gonna have to. Meador's gonna walk in here tomorrow, and he's gonna tell me how that song sucks, and I'm gonna go home here in a second, and I'm gonna hear how great it is. So
Meador is the best, man.
The thing about it is, it's not that the song. It's so. I don't like generic. I don't like things that everybody else does. That's why I love getting down in a pirate town, because it's us. Living on the prairie, you could argue that it's generic, but I like the sing along factor.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an element of the game that it's been a tradition that I don't want to get rid of. Living on a prayer, because the great thing about it, you're trying to. What I was going to say is like a wedding. You're trying to please people that are very, very young to very, very old in one stadium, one setting. It's the same way with a wedding. If you're a DJ and you do weddings, people are going to be mad if you play really old music. People are going to be mad if you play new music. Alyssa said, Meador is old school. We're here for the new Pirates.
All we do is, how old is your fiance, Justin?
27.
Okay, all we do is Win came out when she was like 7 years old.
I think it became. I do think it became a thing though, probably around when she was in school here. So,
okay.
The first time, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say the first time I remember hearing that played,
2010.
was 2010. I just remember it. It took off when we upset NC State.
Yep.
Was it a thing when we beat Tulsa on the Hail Mary, or
I don't know,
or was it that state game where we won with Mag's pick of Russell Wilson, and then Coach Ruff was taking part in it? I
think they were playing it after that Tulsa game, Bubba, but it really caught hold after the NC State game, and Ruffin was out there dancing before he lost weight, and people loved that, and I think that's when it really took hold, was in 2010. So I do think the song is overplayed garbage, but if the majority likes it, then it should stay. I'll tell you what, and then we'll change subjects. If you go on YouTube, you can find a clip from 2011 from the ECU UCF game where we played Kiss Rock and Roll All Night Party Every Day, and the crowd was singing along with it, and like they would stop it and the crowd would sing along. So that might be one you want to look into bringing back in the repertoire, because it had great crowd interaction.
Yeah, we've had discussions about some different ways where we can kind of recreate that living on a prayer type feel where we get some singing along, because I do think that's our job is to keep people engaged in that 2.5, 3 minutes, whatever that timeout is, and keep them from sitting there and staring at their phone and texting and checking Twitter and whatever. And I think those are sort of those kind of things. So any kind of those karaoke type songs are things that we're trying to figure out ways to embed into the game, but not also. I don't want us to be doing karaoke every time out. So
hold on, hey Bubba, I was going to mention to Justin, major kudos. I love the live look-ins. I love. I know that we can get like scores on the phone, but I like how you have the scores up, and I'm hoping to see more of those for the games. So like throughout the game, because
yes, I love
that's
the
something.
scores. Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. It gives you somebody, and you have like people beside you. Did you hear about the whatever game it is? And they're like, "Are you kidding me? They're getting blown out, and they're top 10, top to 15 team." And so the people around you, it gives them something to talk about and something to you to talk about. But that's just something that I've noticed the last 2 or 3 years that we've started to do the live look-ins, and we started to do more of the scores again. I hope we can keep that up and add more.
That is definitely in the plans for this year. Will Bailey, who works on our video staff, he's the one that runs video boards on game days, and he's been working all summer on tweaks and different things to continue to make that thing better. And I know live look-ins and scores are two things that are, I think, in those conversations. So
any new food vendors that we know of?
Hey,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Justin, I've got a friend of mine. If I can talk to you off air, I've been trying to get up with a person over there, but I don't know if it's you. But he wants to be a food vendor, so if possible. But I don't want to say the person's name because I didn't ask him, obviously, and I don't want to put you on the spot.
We can talk off air. I don't know if there's any new vendors scheduled for this year. Airmark, our concessions, and then JJ McLam and the operations staff, they kind of manage all the concession sides of things.
Right.
But I do know that, after last year, concessions is something that we're continuing to try to improve and make sure that, because I do think, because like I told you, I took a year off in between there. And, I don't ever, everything that I hear about the fan experience is secondhand for me because I don't generally get to experience it. So I did spend that 1 year away and I was still coming to games, and I now understand the frustration that people have in the concession lines. So we're working on improving those and continuing to keep those short. But
any chance of doing the old school thing where people walk around with drinks, popcorn, peanuts in the stands and sell them that way?
I thought about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that from what I've been told for the NC State game, they were like, we had them ready to go. And specifically the water people, there was so much demand for water, they didn't ever even make it up the steps. They were getting sold out before they even got to the steps. So it is definitely something that we, I don't know if that's going to be something they're going to bring in this year. But
I had an idea also, Justin, with speaking of concessions last year. I know I told Ryan Robinson, but I was at Bank of America, and they actually have where you buy a big plastic cup for like $9-10, and then you buy the cup, and then they have like all throughout the stadium they have like if you go to a fast food restaurant where you go up and you see the Coke products, or actually in this case Pepsi products for ECU, obviously, and you can fill it up as much as you want. I think that's a way that we could keep the line down, and you're getting how many people are really going to get a couple refills? They probably will just get that one. You get $10 out of it.
Yeah, I know there's probably some people who like to sneak some contraband in that would really appreciate being able to get their Pepsis and Diet Pepsis and Sprites as much as possible. But I don't know if that's something that's been discussed. I do know that's kind of one of the limitations right now with Dottie Ficklin is just the space that we have. We don't really have anywhere else to expand things to and add new concession stands and things like that. So we're always trying to be creative in how to do those things. But
is there any way we can make the concourse area more visually appealing? It's so drab down
That's one
there.
of my.
Is there any better lighting, paint?
Yeah, I know that's also been a discussion of potentially putting banners or things like that down there to kind of showcase the history. Another thing that's on the discussion board, and I think we would all around here love if we could do every idea that came to mind.
The banners down there is with recognizing players, bowls, etc. That's a really good idea. That would not only make it look better, it would be something for somebody who, like a Marshall fan, for example, to learn more about our history. Well, Marshall maybe not be a good example. They probably know our history pretty well, but you get the gist.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty much the same. There has been some changes, but the that concourse area has been the same since I've been going to games since '86.
Ugly.
And it hasn't changed. So that's one thing, a part of my post Pirates Unite. I really want some upgrades to the stadium, stuff like that. I think that those of us that love Pirate football, and speaking of the game day experience, that we would really like. But that's just, I know it takes money.
That's not very expensive either. That's kind of along the lines of, with the weight room and the Murphys, kind of the stuff when Gilbert first got here, he did to kind of make things look a little better with graphics and banners and things like that. It doesn't take a lot of money, and it really improves the look a lot, I think, or could improve the look a lot.
Now, Justin, you've certainly been very generous with your time, and
Yes.
we really appreciate it. Before we let you go, did want to get a basketball question or two in with the momentum that Mike Schwartz and staff have been able to create. A lot of excitement throughout the summer months for Pirate basketball, and that's definitely not always been the case. And with that being the case, something I shared with you earlier, my local minor league team, something they do is what they call Winning Wednesday, where if you're at the game on a Wednesday and the Cannonballers win, then you can take that ticket stub to the ticket office and get a free concourse pass for the next game. Now, I'm certainly not pushing for free, but maybe maybe a half price ticket for the next home game or something of that nature.
Yeah, we definitely try to look at the way to do promotions. And the hard thing with single games and sales is we have to protect the value of the season ticket. So every time we discount a single game ticket, you're reducing the value of a season ticket.
Right.
And something that I talked about at the beginning is, with the season ticket holder is the lifeblood of the program. So we don't want to get to the point where people aren't buying season tickets because it ends up being cheaper to, you can go to 10 of 18 games or whatever it is for, less than a whole season ticket. And, they're still getting all the games they want and whatever. So we're always very calculated in how much we're discounting tickets and doing sales because, I do understand that, going to an event here is not always cheap. And it's, it is a big commitment to come to a game, especially when you start talking about families and 3 and 4 and 5. So, we always do appreciate that people are buying because, we do know that they're spending their hard-earned money, but, we're always talking about how do we get more people into the games without, devaluing the season ticket for those who are committing to the entire year.
And I don't know if we've done this before. You probably have, but you talk about devaluing season tickets, so discounting tickets. You want to do it on a limited basis. And you mentioned families. What about family 4-packs where you buy 4 tickets at a discounted price?
So we've done them a couple years here in the past, and generally that will be one of those weekend non-conference games, and we'll do some combination of is it 4 for 40 or we've done in the past where it's you get a concession voucher in there and whatever. So we kind of dabble in those, and it's usually one non-conference weekend game a year. But those family packs are definitely something that we keep our eyes on and figure out a good date for those. And then around the holidays is usually a good time for getting a deal from us because we'll usually do $8 single game tickets for those games around Christmas too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and it's great to see the number of fans that come out, and I think some of it is families are running out of things to do by the time December 28th comes around. They need something to get out of the house or get away from their in-laws or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, I'll spend whatever it takes to get out. But we always do have pretty good crowds around those Christmas games, which is key for us because when students aren't there, we need to fill that lower bowl somehow.
Justin, before we let you go, we have Meador in the green room. Do you have a funny Brian Meador story? Because I'm sure he may have one about you, but we love Meador, so I would love to.
All I ask is that you don't ask Meador to tell stories because that's where things get dangerous. I'm only going to say positive things about Meador, so then maybe he keeps all the bad stories to himself. But There are few people. What Brian Meador does is very unsung, and he does a great job for us. And he does that coaches show every week, and he's up till, because I'm the one who has to prove his time card. He's here till 4 or 5 a.m. wrapping up that TV show to get it on air for Sunday morning. So he does a phenomenal job, and he's somebody that is of great value to ECU. So Meador, I hope now that I said nice things and I lied on live video that you don't tell any of the bad stories.
Hey, Justin, Meador is such a great storyteller. Why do you think we have him on the show?
There's few things I enjoy more than going to have a beer with Meador, because the stories are endless with him. So
No question about it. Justin, how can people follow you on like Twitter and that, and also?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Twitter's probably the best way to follow me. It's at JBEHR1128 on Twitter. I've kind of slowed on my Twitter game, but maybe I'll bring it back this upcoming season. But that's the easiest way to follow me. If you ever have any, ideas or, comments or concerns, my email is behrj17@ecu.edu. So I'm always open to hearing ideas. I'm one of those people too, is that there's no idea is a bad idea, because sometimes with a little bit of a tweak, a bad idea can turn into a really good idea. So
don't tell me there's no bad ideas. I'll email you constantly with bad ideas just to aggravate you.
But okay, Kyle, I'll tell you when you have bad ideas. How about that?
Okay, hey, wet t-shirt contest at halftime. Can you make it happen, Justin?
I would love to do a wet t-shirt contest at halftime, but I don't think there's some people out there that would really approve of that. So it's always funny. I always
here's the kicker. I'm going to enter it.
That's a great way.
There might be some there. That might be a good place for me to end.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have a response to that.
By the way, I think a good idea would be get rid of the song "Getting Down in a Pirate Town," but that's just me.
Noted.
Really,
Dave? We're gonna make sure that happens this year.
I'm trying to get Kyle riled up. Justin, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate it.
You.
Yep.
Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. I'm totally joking, Kyle. I love that song.
I mean, your boys Florida Georgia Line, and
I do love Florida Georgia Line.
They co-singing that, and they're horrible. That's the only way I can tolerate them. Look who's here. It's the
Ladies
one and
and
only.
Gentlemen.
It's Brian Meador.
Brian Meador.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Justin to take me. Please don't tell any stories. Please don't tell any stories.
Meador's got breaking news. He's going to tell us who the new play-by-play voice is. Go ahead, Meador.
You just had him on, Justin Behr.
Oh wow!
Wow!
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Meador, Kyle just went JT there for a minute. He called you Meador.
JT Meador. You can put that on TV, right? Remember the bouncing the ball in the trash can thing? Yeah.
Wow, what a great way to start. Speaking of play-by-play voice, obviously losing Jeff Charles, I know how people that don't know you, you are like, I don't know many people that bleed purple and gold more than you do. And then having somebody like Jeff Charles and Brian Bailey, two guys that didn't go to school here, how they're legends and how much I think of them over the years. And you're another person who has put up with me. And you look at, speaking of Jeff Charles, the play-by-play voice thing, it's going to be really tough because you have a legend like him. Do you have some Jeff Charles stories to talk about? I know you've got 5 million. Is there one of your favorites you can, from your greatest hits?
You know what? I've got a bunch of them, but there was one that was funny, and Justin knows about this. And by the way, I absolutely adore that dude. He's great. We were so lucky to get him back. I was so excited when I went and had dinner with him one night, and I threatened him, and I said, "We need you, man." Anyway, and he's been back, and he's absolutely terrific. And you know how hard it is to have his job, and I'll get to Jeff in just a second, but I thought about this when I was listening to all your questions. You got great ideas and questions. Justin gets them all day long, and then Justin gets to go and sit in front of somebody who's already decided the answer is no before he even asks the question. So that's the tough job that he has, and I wouldn't want it. And he's always got a great attitude, but with Jeff Charles, Jeff he was a machine. Consummate professional, all the things you've ever heard. But for whatever reason, we would shoot the coaches show on for the basketball stuff. It was, I think Lebo was here at the time, and we had just built the practice facilities, right?
Right.
So Jeff would call me up and say, "Man, hey, I'm down here." I'm like, "Okay, I'll be down in just a sec. I'm on my way." So I get down to the practice facility. I'm sitting there waiting. So I call Jeff back. Hey, Jeff, where are you? He said, I'm in the practice facility. So I'm like, no, you're not. I'm in it. He's not in here. So I just on a hunch, I walk over to the women's side. He's over there in the women's gym. And so, you don't think that's that big. It's funny, but then I'm like, all right, well, that won't happen again. It happened like 10 more times. I kept having to go down there to get Jeff. And that guy had a steel trap. He remembered every single thing that would come up. But for some reason, those practice facilities, he just always wanted to go to the women's gym. The basketball wasn't as bad over there at the time, so maybe that had something to do with it. But I could go on all night talking about Jeff. I miss that guy. He's a machine. Physically, he was impressive. To lose him like that was stunning to all of us. And Brian Bailey and I have reflected on it many a day, because I've always joked with Bailey about being, your TV's version of Jeff Charles. You've been here for a long time. You're excellent at what you do. People by and large like you. And Jeff had the presence he had, and Bailey and them they got here around the same time and they've seen a lot of great stuff, and they endure a lot of bad stuff, but they always showed up at work. Great attitude. Bailey, you can't keep Bailey down. He's like, sports to him, he's like a kid on Christmas morning every single day. And it's to be admired. I love that dude. He's a close friend, as Jeff was. And we gotta keep Bailey around a lot longer, because I don't think I can stand losing my two favorites like that.
No, I had a question for you also.
What's that?
So we're not going to replace a legend like Jeff Charles. I'm not going to put you on the spot to ask you who you want, but I will ask this question, generically speaking, so you won't lose your job or get you in trouble. So
you can't. I don't know who it is. You can't get me in trouble. I purposely said I don't want to know.
No, not that. I'm not asking you that question. My question is, what are you looking for in a play-by-play voice? Because what Jeff Charles really set the standard. We're not asking, and I will say, to be fair, we're not asking anyone to replace a legend. You're not going to replace Jeff Charles. Mm-hmm. He's special, and he has a special place in Pirate Nation. But what are you looking for, Brian Meador? What are you looking for that next play-by-play voice?
To bridge the gap. When you saw earlier, when Alyssa was, when she was making her comments about, I'm old school, she's new school, this new person needs to create his own legend moving forward. And I think the most important thing that he can do is embrace the young generations that are coming along, but not alienate the older ones who, we kind of gotten used to hearing Jeff Charles, for a long time now. And we're not saying you have to be like Jeff Charles, but whoever it is, they need to embrace both sides, like the old school and whatever new stuff, because Jeff Charles was not on social media. He was never going to do it. Wasn't his thing. Not consistently of any type. He didn't have a Twitter page. He was constantly, like Justin, having so much fun with. But so whoever the new guy is has to embrace. That's what I want to see. Whoever it is going to embrace the young crowd, like Alyssa, and then like people like me. I want to be able to say, hey, you know what? I didn't have to wait 10 minutes for you to say the score. I appreciate that. That's a pet peeve of mine. I'm driving in the car. If I haven't heard the score every 2 minutes, I've already forgotten. I'm old, so I need the score.
It drives me crazy.
I can't stand it.
Yeah, that's yep.
And something I would say, and I think Matt Semenza said it best. Pirate fans are going to recognize. Jeff Charles didn't retire; he passed away. So he didn't go out on his own terms. It's not like he retired and we're replacing him. He passed away. So you got big shoes to fill. And whoever takes that spot is going to be critiqued. And I think Semenza said it best. If you're fake and you don't come across as genuine, Pirate fans are going to rip you apart.
Yeah, you're 100% right. That fake it till you make it line does not apply in Pirate Nation. No, we'll know it. We'll seek. It'll be like blood in the water. You better come with your game,
Yeah, not only that, but also the fact that Brian, I was telling someone today when they were asking me about it, I said, you're going to have to, that person needs to be out in the community 100%. Learning about, Greenville. They need to be doing a lot of different charity events, speaking engagements, every way that they can shake hands, hug babies, whatever you want to say, but they need to be doing a lot of that, because Jeff, from the media side, and Meador, I know you know this, but the guys, I think I told the story when he passed away. When I first met Jeff in 1996, first in radio, I was told his nickname was One Take Charles. The guy could cut a commercial in one take, and it was perfect every single time. If you didn't like Jeff, it would probably get on your nerves because he was that good. But what made him so great was not only the professional side, but the personal side. In fact, I wanted to put this up. Our dear friend that you know, Alan Vick,
Oh, I love
said
Alan.
Jeff was
Great
such
guy.
a class act. He called me one day back when I was engineering ECU baseball and said, "Can you meet me at Hooters?" Obviously, I said, "Sure." When I got there, he gave me a gift card and a Pirate Sports Network polo and thanked me for my hard work engineering baseball. And it was very complimentary and just a sweet guy. He didn't have to do that, but he did. And I'll always be so appreciative of Jeff's kindness. And that's so true. He did a lot of that kind of stuff, many examples. But we're going to
personally, I'll give you a story. You know, my wife, she passed away in 2018 of breast cancer, and Jeff he found out he was over here maybe an hour after he found out in my house. You know, a lot of people come through, and you know that's a weird time. You don't know, while we knew she was sick, we didn't expect it to happen the day that it did, so it was kind of a surprise. But Jeff was here. Jeff had been working to try to help Kim with the ins and outs of going through chemo, and the neuropathy was so bad in the legs and the hands, and those are the things that he was giving her advice along the way, and so that's when we really became a lot closer than we had been previously. But I got nothing but love for him and his family. Deborah's doing well from the few times I've interacted with her, and he's a loss. And to your point about this person getting out in the community. Those are the things Brian Bailey does. He's the mayor of Greenville. When I just got remarried this year, and I had my current wife, when we were riding around, she's like, "Oh my gosh, everybody." I was like, "No, I don't. What do you get with Bailey? It's unbelievable. You can't go 5 feet without somebody stopping him. He's got that whole, I just got the one in there and keeps on going about his business. And it's so funny to watch the number of people from all signs of life. And the first question we usually ask each other is, "Did you know who that was?" "No, I don't know who that was." Somebody's been watching you for 35 years.
Yeah,
Kyle from Grange.
Kyle's a legend now. I'm telling you, man. We joke about Kyle a lot, and it's all. Yay! Thank you for all you've done.
I appreciate that, Meador. And I wanted to comment on Jeff Charles. I don't know Brian Bailey that well, but I obviously grew up watching Bailey on WNCT and have a lot of respect for him. Particularly, I always think about Friday Night Football when I think of Brian Bailey. But Jeff reached out to me when he found out I had colon cancer, and that meant a lot to me. Talking to him about his battle, and you mentioned the neuropathy with chemo. Let me tell you something. That's a real thing, baby.
You know it, buddy.
I'm dealing with it right now. Every day I come home from work and I can't feel my feet.
Yep.
So it's a real thing. And losing Jeff was, we had the same thing. We both battled colon cancer, and so just I don't want to be a downer, but the fact that he beat it twice and he was stage 4. NED. I don't think people
forgot it. He had half his lung removed. It spread to his lungs.
Yeah, when you're stage 4, they never say you're cancer free. They say you're NED.
That's right.
And he was thriving, and so to lose him from a heart attack was just the biggest bunch of bullshit ever.
Yeah.
And but I will say this: cancer didn't get him.
Nope.
So that was one thing I will say is. He didn't go out on his own terms. Very few of us do, but he did get the flip cancer off in the end. That didn't get him.
He sure did.
So
that's one thing, Meador, that I was going to ask you. How crazy it's going to be. I'm used to seeing Brian Bailey. There's a lot of people that there. It's kind of like with the media for Media Day coming up next month. It's kind of like a fraternity, and we get to see each other. Definitely Media Day, and maybe sometimes more with different things, but we're all together. What is that going to be like for you? I've been thinking about that a lot over the last couple of weeks. It just dawned on me there's no Jeff Charles this year, and it's not because I knew that it was coming up in the next couple of years. I didn't know exactly when that he would retire, and then I thought about that. Man, we're going to have days without Jeff Charles. I can't listen to him. He's not going to be at Media Day anymore. But to have it happen, like you said, back in February, where we lost him through a tragic death, is totally different. And now we have August rolling around, Media Day. It's going to be totally different, a different feel.
There'll be a big void in there for sure. I'll tell Bailey to be extra loud, but Jeff, when he would go over to the side and he would interview somebody, Jeff, you listen to his voicemail when he turns that amazing instrument of his on. When he would turn it on, you heard it, and you heard it throughout the press box or the media room or wherever we were. You could hear it. So I still pick up my phone and go to call him. I mean, obviously anybody who's lost somebody, but when I lost my wife, that was different because we talked all day. Whereas Jeff, I need him for something. I want to call him. I'm like, hey, what I find out? Well, I can't call him. Dang it, and those moments are the ones that I'm going to be I'm thinking about when I walk out and up there over to the left where he used to sit at that table and he would get the players one-on-one. It's going to be vacant. It's going to be empty. It's going to be a void that, I don't know. Whoever this new person is when they come in, hopefully they may have had a chance to meet Jeff. I would assume the candidates, the list I've seen, I would hope so. But that person maybe can understand how big his legend is.
Exactly.
So that don't try too hard. Just go be you the best you can, and let's get on down the road with the new voice.
Well, we know a couple of guys on that list will understand it more than others.
100% true. Well, you and I, we talked about that before. Yeah.
Meador, we had this discussion about how the video archives at East Carolina are non-existent, and how are the audio archives? Are Jeff's calls available from all through the 90s and all?
Here's what the kicker is on that. Not for us, but for whoever our partner was, our media partner before it was Playfly, it was Learfield. Learfield has all the games, and I don't know where they archived the ones he did throughout the years. And before that was IMG, before that was ISP Sports. Before that, you'd have to find them on a reel somewhere because until when we went digital, we had already picked up ISP Sports. So then everything became digital. And that's where all those archives are. I do know this. When we were doing the tribute stuff, the Hintons now with Interbanks Media, they have the archive of every game he did over the last 2 years. So as far as ECU goes, if I don't keep it, I don't know who's going to have it.
Yeah, that's one thing that with our fan base, with Kyle, in fact, the very first game I covered, Meador, he's trying to find, and that's the
97 Wake Forest game. I can not
second game of the season.
Anywhere. Been looking for that for years.
I know
there's got to be somebody that has that game.
Well, Kyle bailed us out when we were doing the throwbacks. Remember during COVID? Yeah, he gave us several games that we needed that we actually recouped a lot of that money we lost for advertising. We were able to use that stuff. Kyle did his part to help Learfield at the time. Right.
I need me and oh God, I can't think of his name. It's the screen name on the message board, Pirate Treasure NC. We both have a massive collections. This is bigger than mine, and we need to take the time to upload them to YouTube. Bubba's dad has
give them to Meador,
or give them. Well, if I give them the, I don't know if they can. Can you guys do that? Can you put archive? Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. We can't.
So we don't own the rights to a lot of that stuff. So I've been flagged several times when I've loaded stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, they tend to. If it's a fan that does it, they tend to ignore you as long as you do it the right way.
Right.
So
I do know there for a while, because you've got all kinds of, you got VHS tapes, you've got multiple DVDs. It would that's one of those things where I've talked about it, and then the season comes, it goes, and we don't address it. And anything from about 2010 on, we're gold. It's the stuff that I want to see. I want to find. Like I may have mentioned this the last time I was on when back in the day you were talking about the wet T-shirt contest. You guys remember the bikini contest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tropicana or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You mean Bailey don't have that archived at WNCT?
See, man, this is probably about 10 years ago. I went looking through there trying to find. I remember when like I said, my late wife Kim, she was in that contest, and one of the years, and I wanted to find it. It was either 92 or 93. It was right after the Peach Ball. I remember the ballpark of it, and we were all just great friends back then. And by gosh, if I didn't go up there and find it, and I surprised her, and I had it ready for her, and she held her own. She didn't win, but she held her own. It was a lot of fun to go back, but it was an old beta tape, beta SP.
Oh,
so wow! I had to find somebody who had a beta SP deck. One of the guys who happens to work with us now, Mike Miles, great guy. He has a whole setup in his house, and so
beta was a better format than VHS.
100% was.
Monopoly quality.
Yeah, I had VHS Monopoly.
We had a beta machine. The very first VCR I had was beta because the guy that was working as a reporter down the street, a reporter from Channel 11, told us that beta was way better. And beta, when it first started out, they had more copies. But then it just seems like all of a sudden VHS just blew by it, and then all of a sudden it got.
I want to say they was a monopoly. I want to say you could Google it, but I think VHS went in and gobbled up everybody who's purchasing or buying or whatever it was. The delivery systems are providing the. They may have just been cheaper. I don't remember. My father had
that was a big part of it. It was a cheaper format, but beta was better quality, and then the original
longer.
Yeah, Yes, they didn't come up with the extended play and the super long play VHS tapes until the mid '80s. Originally, you can only record for 2 hours on VHS tapes.
Yep.
It was like 5.5 hours. I don't know why I remember that.
But you got some people out there listening around. What is the VHS tape?
You're right. Beta, huh?
What is that?
Exactly. Yeah,
but things are coming back. LPs and now actually cassettes are popular now. I gave away a whole bunch of cassettes. I didn't think they would ever be valuable. But people are starting to collect cassettes again. It's crazy. I don't know why they would.
Well, people want physical media. They listen to things digitally, but they want to own physical media, and CDs are too recent and still being made. So they like the idea of owning vinyl. They're selling vinyl at Walmart now. So
everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Kyle, "Don't Tread on Me," fantastic choice on a song. It's a great song.
Don't Tread on Me, all by Metallica.
Oh, God, yeah, man, it's a good song.
Yeah, it's a great football song. I've always thought so. I mean, if I was in charge of the music, and this is nothing against Justin. Thank you. Nothing against Justin, because he's trying to please everybody. But if I was in charge of music at East Carolina, it would be totally different.
I can imagine.
It's like
Brian, by the way, Brian Bailey knows who you are very well. He spent many a night on the fifth quarter laughing his butt off at you. So,
well, I met Bailey. I just don't know him well, so I don't like to say I know people unless I actually know him.
You're not a name dropper. I know. I'll do it for you.
Speaking of Bailey, one of my early memories of Bailey is he and Morgan Ehlers. You remember when they did the Bud Light tailgate show?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They were so good. The two of them were just, oh my God. I told Bubba that in August of 1 year, I would like to have both of them back on together. I know they're still obviously very good friends.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you can come on, but I would love to have them, because the two of them together, one of my favorite parts was when they talked about food, and all of a sudden the people listened to the radio for on 94.3 back then and 98.3. All of a sudden, these people were coming with plates of ribs and all that stuff. They were begging for food.
Over to Bailey. That's funny. I just had them over to the house on Saturday, and I'm actually Morgan. If you get Morgan on and ask him about it, we're all bruised up because after a few libations, Morgan wanted to challenge me in a belly flop contest. And I'm like, look at me. I don't have a chance at you, but I'll tell you this, man. I gave it my all. I'm all bruised up. So's he. And we went out there and slapped our bellies for a good better part of an hour, and I held my own against that guy. I'm telling you, we tied. We called it a tie. For me, that's
Morgan.
A win. Morgan's a big dude.
Yes,
he's got that wingspan. I'm telling you, man, it was a lot of fun. And Bailey was here too, but he wouldn't do the contest with us. But that would have been funny seeing two Bubbas like that get after it.
You should have filmed that, Meador.
I got it. I was told I couldn't show it, so.
Oh, geez.
But I do have it.
Well, you can always hold it against Morgan, in case you need anything from him.
I will.
It is crazy to me, Meador, and I don't know if you the fact that Morgan Ehlers has been able to now infiltrate the Seattle Seahawks organization and get them to
play their son,
keep Holton Ehlers.
It's amazing the power that man has.
Morgan's reach never ends.
Never ends. He's the single
on the West Coast now.
That Holton started a game here was because Morgan was in the PA.
And now somehow he's gotten to Pete Carroll and everybody else in the Seahawks organization.
His reach is literal and figurative, and it happened. He managed to get over there and convince Pete Carroll that Holton Ehlers could be the future of the Seahawks organization. So,
has he entered the transfer portal from the Greenville Mafia to the Seattle Mafia?
Exactly. It's so irritating when people would say that. I'm like, are you serious?
It's not even logical.
Seriously, Morgan will tell you they don't even like him over there. They wouldn't do that for him. It's ridiculous.
Well, they don't like him at ECU.
No, some do. Everybody loves him. I love him.
It's just one of those things where, just to put it quite frankly. Do you think Mike Houston gives a damn who anybody's father is? No, he wants to win. No. He's going to play who the best quarterback is.
He's going to get fired if he puts all his favorites
in.
And
I know very, very intelligent people. Very intelligent people.
Yes, people Meador.
Yeah, people would say this crap, and I'm like, you got a PhD. What is wrong with you?
What do you think Morgan does over there? We don't even pay him squat. He just sits in front of him. He does it because he loves doing it, and he always had. This will be his 20th year, season, not necessarily year, but his 20th season doing the PA. and he does an exceptional
Really?
job.
Will it be his 20th season?
Yeah.
I auditioned for that job back in 2004.
I was gonna say mid 04 because we had 2 or 3 different people do it, and then Morgan took over.
Because in my head, 05 was his first season.
He went mid 04, so it's like 19 and a half seasons, but it'll be the 20th year of actually doing it.
Yeah,
so.
There was another guy that.
I didn't. I quit going to games about the midway of the 04 season because I can see why. I was sick of JT. Yeah, I was sick of JT. So that's probably why I don't remember him until 05 in that Duke game.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job with men's basketball, and then now with football.
I remember from basketball prior to that exactly.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Now, Meador, Justin was alluding to a new intro video. Can you talk about any of that?
I'd say everything you want to know. I mean, I'm an open book. So they, Curtis did it for 5 years. Port City Films, Curtis Thiemann, great guy, big fan of Curtis and his work. Well, he worked, and he was doing videos and commercials for High Street Yale back in the day. And my late wife told me, hey, this guy's really good. He's a Pirate fan. He wants to do it. So I was excited to try, but your nemesis wouldn't let it happen, Kyle. So they wanted to do that stupid crap. Anyway, we've talked about that before. But anyway, so when that crowd was when you extinguished them, Kyle.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, I'll forever give you credit for that. You got people stirred up. Anyway, so they let me go get Curtis, and there's an award let's see this right here. That's the award that we won that thing, and it was incredible, and it was a lot of fun doing it. And then he did it for the next 4 years. He did it out of pocket with the COVID year just to help ECU out. So after 5 years of it, Curtis thought 5 years is all he wanted to do. And then last year he told me, I think I want to at least do it one more, and then we'll see where we are, and I'll hand it off to somebody else. And then internally, they decided they didn't want to pay money for something they felt like they had somebody in house who could do a good enough job, because Curtis raised the production value to almost cinematically. He raised the bar.
Right.
And I know everybody loves the little cartoony ships going up and down the tar. There's a place for that. I like. There's definitely a place in today's technology. Hopefully, something like that could look good. I have not talked to Jarrett, so I'm not going to speak for him. Maybe you guys can get him on here, but I know he and his team are working to put something together. And it's new, old, whatever. We'll see. We'll see how it looks. We'll see how it comes out. To my knowledge, it's going to be Jarrett and Jarrett's baby, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so we're doing no longer with Port City Productions. Jared who? Jared
Ozimek.
Okay,
he works for ECU. You can find him. He's in house now. He's been here for a few years. Great kid. He's a Greenville kid.
Okay.
He's been with us for a few years. Mike Houston loves him. He does all the creative for football, and so this is going to be his baby. He's done some really good things, some really good work that I think is going to be up there on par. I'm not going to say it's on par with Curtis, because I don't think that's fair to Curtis and how hard he works and how long he's been doing this. But I do think it's going to be something everybody, and maybe it's a different twist on it. It could be better in some senses. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I know Jarrett's got a good feel for music and that kind of thing. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, I can't wait to see it. I mean, Curtis is gone because Curtis is a really good friend.
Right.
And, I guess you guys saw he made the announcement today. I told him it's been a few months back when I told him we were headed that way. And then 3 or 4 weeks ago, I told him definitively we were not going to go in his direction. So not my call. I'd stay with Curtis for as long as he'd want to do it. But I totally understand the decision.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. It sounds like it's going to be a throwback to the old animated ships, which I liked at the time. And now, like you said, if we're going to bring it back, it's going to have to be elevated to 2023 standards. And,
sure.
I have a vision of what that could look like in my head, and we'll see. We'll see what they come up with.
Well, hopefully, it'll. I mean, Jared he's put good stuff up. So sometimes the change stuff, I'm not all for it if it doesn't improve the product. I don't just change for the sake of change is not change. You're just all you're doing is putting your stamp on it. You're just dragging your pen across it is all you're doing. You're not really improving anything. I think that's part of the problem we have with that other bunch is they just wanted to change for the sake of changing. And I'll never forget when they tried to move the band over there behind I think it was the visitors side. And I remember one of the administrators they called me over and they said, "Do you know why the band is in the end zone right here, or the baseline, and of basketball?" And I said, "I don't know the answer, but there is a reason for it." And one of the people said, "Oh, it's always been done that way." And I said, "Not what I said. I said, there's a reason. I don't know what it is, but I'll find out what it is. Turns out, conference rule, you can't have a band on that side behind. So Nick Floyd actually, when they announced they were moving the band, Nick Floyd actually fired off an email saying the band stays where it is pursuant to blah, 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 blah. This is why. And that's it. So I sent him a text and I said, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I Confer and Vinegar were, I'll call them out more than you will. I'll call them out by name.
Look, I get it. They were good to me. And I still stay in touch with Shelly for the most part.
Really?
Confer actually texted me after I got married saying, congratulations. I haven't heard from that dude in years. I just sent a nice, polite, appreciate it. He's back. I think he moved back to Pinehurst, but you know what? They need to go their way. We need to go our way.
They were not the right fit for East Carolina.
That's a fair argument. So I'm not going to speak ill of them.
Right. And another thing is it's been like as far as a decade now, hard to believe, but when they pushed basically out a future Hall of Famer in Terry Holland, by the way, he and Jeff, I know you and I were texting Meador a few weeks ago, but we're talking about that it's definitely a future Hall of Famer for both those guys. And when you have a guy that brought the facilities up, I think it was somebody we were talking, and they said, one of my friends, we were talking off the air last week, they said, a guy like Terry Holland, if I called the office, nobody would answer, they said. But they said if Terry Holland calls, you're going to pick up the phone because it's Terry Holland.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the best way to describe Terry Holland is that thing. But Terry Holland, he's another one that.
I would even say it the other way around, Dave. If you call Terry Holland, he would always pick up.
Yeah, he always answers. Answered. Yeah, I never had a problem with. And Terry talked to anybody. I know
exactly.
One of the guys I work with, he's always saying, they never say anything to me that's like I'm not here. Not Terry. Terry would walk right in and say what his name was and say, "How you doing today, buddy?" and talk to him for a minute, and then off he would go. So I had nothing respect for that man and everything he brought here.
Terry was awesome.
Amazing all the upgrades to the stadiums and stuff at that time. A lot of cool stuff. And speaking of which, what about indoor practice facility? What are you looking for with all the stuff with Pirates Unite? I know there's going to be a lot of cool things there. The indoor practice facility where you guys, whenever there's bad weather, you'll still be able to get great content.
You have no idea how important that is because before the weather's so bad, they would go inside of the gym, and because you've got to get the reps in. That's nothing more than a glorified walkthrough. This thing is something we've needed for so long. So when you guys are talking about all the things under the stadium, which I've been saying for years too, that why don't we have these things, the banners, the bowl recognitions, the NFL players. Let me see some guys in some NFL uniforms, that kind of stuff. But until that indoor facility is finished and enough money is raised to make it into reality, and I actually see a building over there, all the other stuff I can care less about it. Get that thing built because we need it. We just need it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's something that's long overdue, and I think it's going to happen. We're close.
It's so frustrating, Kyle. When we go on the road, I'm like, we're a better program than this. They've got
Coastal's building one,
right?
And, I mean, and they're not building anything fancy, and maybe that's the problem we're shooting. Hey, just like with the multi-million-dollar press box in the sky.
Yeah,
maybe we shouldn't. It's nice to have nice things, but
let's make sure they're necessary.
Yes, and maybe I don't know. Just get a damn facility built that we can practice in.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just give me one that won't blow away. That's all I need.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Not one of the little bubbles like they built at UAB, but
that's right.
Well, that's the thing and I'm certainly not being in that line of work, but the way the cost of everything has gone up, and just it's probably been 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer now. But in Memphis. They built one not all that long ago, and I want to say it was $8 to $10 million. So, and the price tag for ours is projected to be 22 to 25 million.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with you. As far as recognizing the Pirate greats, guys that maybe they were not necessarily an All-American, but
I never liked that. I never liked that,
people.
Man. I'm sorry. You have to be an All-American to be recognized in that ring up top.
Yeah,
I never like that because you're telling me I'm never going to see a guy like Blake's name up there. Ridiculous.
Right, Jeff Blake. I mean, there's so many. Marcus Crandall, etc. David Garrard.
Good enough for our Hall of Fame, but not the ring.
But then you have Mike Houston, when he came on board, he did an excellent job of adding some paint, wraps, all the things to honor those guys and
sure did.
recognize our history.
You've been down in the locker room. It looks fantastic down there now.
I've just seen pictures. I've not actually toured it, but kind of along that line, you mentioned Ozimek and some of the things he had put out on social media. I know he deleted that tweet, but some of those look very sharp on what could be done under Dowdy Ficklin.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's long overdue. We've talked about it. When you say it's not even an idea anymore, it's something we've talked about for years, and nobody's put it into motion.
It can't be very expensive to put graphics up and banners.
Hey, you know what? That's the first thing when Dooley got here is he walked around and he looked at me and said, "Why don't we have graphics here? It looks the same when I left." Yeah. And I was like, "It's a great question." So now they have a lot. Even if it's something as simple as the some of the Adidas stuff. I mean, put something up there that looks nice, and whether it's the marks or what, but a gray wall, concrete.
And can we get better lighting in the concourse area also?
Man, trust me, when I have to leave there late at night, it's dark and all the lights are on still. I'm like, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe I'll approach it from this issue as someone who is legally blind. It sucks ass walking out of there in a night game. I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, am I to run into somebody?" So how about that from that aspect?
Yeah,
I bet what if I approach it from that aspect enough, I bet you I can get some better lighting down there.
No, let's keep winning bowl games, man. It seems like everybody's in you know what? Nobody forgets how shitty the popcorn is if the movie's good.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So if we get to, we're winning a bunch of games and
no, I'll still complain about the dimly lit.
That's the way. We can count on you then. That's good.
Yeah,
I walked into a beam.
Exactly. Yeah, I bet if I do that a couple of good times, that'll.
You know what? Threaten a lawsuit. There you go. That'll get it moving and shaking. I bet.
Yeah, we'll get some better lighting one way or another.
That's good stuff. There
it
is.
Got anything else, Dave? You got anything?
Yeah,
Dave,
I need to turn my mic on.
Doing?
What?
What have you been doing, Dave?
I have children that I want to make sure they were asleep, Kyle.
Okay, all right.
They're supposed to be asleep 45. They are.
You've been running stadium steps.
Out of breath, coming back all of a sudden out of breath. I don't know what Dave's going up to.
I ran back up the stairs. I was looking for both the kids, making sure they were where they were. So.
There we go. Dave lost his kids.
No, but I'm trying to be a single dad and do a show at the same time. So they are asleep. So I'm happy they did what I asked them to do. That's a good thing.
That's a win this day and age.
Yeah. So what, as far as Coach's show, is there any wrinkles that you can tell us about? We always, I know the three of us watch your show. So
I appreciate that, guys. I mean, give me feedback anytime you need it. I think it's kind of the one thing that we like that we do that separates us from a lot of the other shows is we do it right after the game. So you get that fresh emotion, and Mike is very revealing. He said some of the stuff he says. I'm like, yeah, are you sure I can use that? It's like the old bounce the ball in the trash can, man. Let me think about that for a minute. Yeah, I'm using it. I don't care if he says it, I'm using it. And it's a lot of emotion, and some of that stuff is really good. And we don't want to lose that part of it. We could easily do a taped show with more in depth looking at this and that, because that thing's going to fly after the game is over. We're just hammering it out and trying to get it done and turned around, because we have a it's the next morning. There's no. The show won't air if I don't get it done and we get it sent over to Channel 9. So I appreciate you guys still watching. I know a lot of people think it's kind of an antiquated way of doing things, because back when I was a kid, like you guys were all probably old enough to be like I was, I didn't get to watch the highlights on ESPN. If I wanted to watch East Carolina show, I had to watch the Bill Lewis show or the Steve Logan show. I had to watch those shows to get the highlights. Yeah. And just to see the game and then hear the coach talk about it. So we've tried over the years to not get away from the coach's emotional side of it. And it's a little more trickier in basketball than it is football. Football, right after the game, Mike, on the field, let's do this. Or we go into his office. He prefers his office on home games. So we'll go up to his office and do it up there. I don't really like that. I like to do it on the field. But when they started letting all the kids and the family stuff on the field, Mike's like, nope, we're not doing that. Let's go upstairs. So it's his show. His name's on it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, like you say, you think back to when Coach Logan did his on the field. You'll see kids throwing football in the background, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But when we've had you on several times down through the years, and you've told us kind of some funny stories, or maybe not so funny stories, depending on the situation. You talked about, I think it was at South Carolina, where you had to re-record with Ruff.
Yeah, and Jeff walked off.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just got our butts kicked, and I went up front. I screwed up. I hit those the P2 cameras that we have. If you turn them off before you stop rolling, it corrupts the card. And a lot of recording devices are that way. So yeah, I turned it off. Wasn't thinking. Right when I did it, I knew it. So I had to go over to Ruff. I got on his bus. He was on the first bus. I went up there and got him and said, Coach, I'm really sorry. He said, B, it's okay. B, you had a bad day. I just had a bad day. We good. We'll make it work. Where's Jeff? So I look up and I see Jeff, and he's about 50, 75 yards on down the air. He's walking. I don't know if you remember Bank of America Stadium. You have to walk to where the media lot is. So it's a little bit of a hustle or hike. And so I call him up, and he's fumbling with his phone. He answers his flip phone. He answers it. And I say, hey, Jeff, sorry, buddy. I screwed this up. It's my fault. We got to do the audio again. Ruff's right here. Oh, Jeff, rest his soul. He's, I'm all the way back in the media lot. I was like, Jeff, I'm looking at you. You're right there. And he just goes, okay, I'm coming down. And then he walked on down. He came walking back up, and he just was just ready to roll right on out of there. He didn't want to do it again. Now, some of the better stories of Jeff that are just funny in nature. When we were doing the play-by-play stuff with Skip, Ruff didn't care. Mike, great memory. You name a play, and he knows exactly what it was and what the play was called, which way to go. Because they're not watching the video; they're going by a play-by-play sheet that Jeff hasn't had in his hand. Now Bailey does it. Well, he would hold the microphone like this. We'd have to do it. Sometimes we have to do it at Skip's house. So we're sitting on his couch, and Skip is sitting next to Jeff trying to read the papers, and Jeff's got him over here like this, and the microphone's like this, and he would just kind of like that toward Skip, like here, you ready, and then back here, and then like that. After he'd say, and here's a 35-yard catch by Dwayne Harris, and then Skip would say something. Well, he wasn't pulling the microphone. He wasn't pulling the microwave far enough, and he was holding the papers right here so he could read them. And so Skip would reach over and just kind of pull. He would pull at the sheet, and Jeff would pull back, and then they'd pull, and finally they started snatching it around each other. They almost got in a little fight on the couch. It was so funny. I was like, is this really happening? Skip and Jeff are about to fight over the play-by-play sheet. That was good stuff.
That was awesome. My money would have been on Jeff.
Oh, no question. No, that's not a fair fight.
He bench pressed 400 pounds at one point. I remember.
He did, what was he, 62, I think it was, and he did 62 push-ups in a row. Or was it 60? I think his 60th birthday, he pumped up 60 push-ups. Like, wow. This is after going through stage 4 cancer twice. Wow.
Yeah, I could.
Skip was about to turn some more.
Turn.
He was a turner.
Yeah,
we're kind of where I was going with that. You shared the ones about Ruff and Skip. Do you have any good stories as far as Coach Houston these last 4 or 5 years now? I think about that Memphis game last year where he slapped the podium.
Yeah, that was something. I wasn't in the poet. So I'm in the room waiting for him. I heard he did it. Somebody called me and said he's fired up. I was like, really? He said, yeah, he must have been watching social media this week. He just came here and slapped the podium. I was like, no, I never saw it until I saw it later. There's some of the stuff when he comes in and he's fired up. He, I know what I can and can't use. Usually once we start with the microphone, we know what we can't use. And there was only one time, I won't say who the player was, where we decided not to use it. He said, the kid had one thing he had to do, one thing. I gave him one thing to do, and he couldn't even do that. And but you guys probably figure it out, but I don't want to put that out there. But I'll tell you in private someday who it was and what exactly it was. But the play got just blown up, and that was probably the last time I think he saw the field that year. I could be. I gotta go back and look and see if I'm right about that. But he was so mad, and he just said it. We just stopped. And then we restarted again because he doesn't want to embarrass his kids. He's sometimes they screw up. He'll call them out in the appropriate way, especially if they're knuckleheads. You go out there and pull a CJ and you get a dumb 15-yard penalty for no reason. Come on, man. You got to be smarter. He'll call them out in a heartbeat. You got to be smarter than that. That's what he'd say. Usually he'll say something like that. You got to be smarter than that. And no, I've had a really good relationship with Mike. I like him a lot. It's very professional. We joke around a little bit. I think the funnest story I've told you guys before was his initials and my wife's are the same, MH. And so I got one morning and she's getting ready to go to work, and I texted her, and I said, "Hey, beautiful, have a wonderful day, love you." And I get these big eye emojis back, and it was Mike Houston. I just screwed up and texted Mike, and I was like, "Oh crap, coach, that was my girlfriend, man. Sorry, that wasn't intended for you." And he told me the story later because he had to do that was on Monday. He had to do the Monday radio show that night at Logan's, right? And so he's telling the story, and I think Bailey was actually pinch hitting that night. He was hosting, and he tells the story. He says, "Yeah, I got my wife standing right next to me, going, who the heck is Meador? And why is he texting you at 5 o'clock in the morning or 5:30, whatever it was? And hey, beautiful, what is that about?" Because she didn't believe it was really me. Is that really Meador's number?
I'm glad you went with beautiful and not sexy. Something that could.
Oh, I know, right? I wish I had.
Yeah. God. Because that would really probably his wife would have really you'd probably be getting a phone call.
Oh, 100%.
Really, Brian Meador?
I wonder why. I actually joked with him about,
sound hideous.
Like, do I need to call her back? I mean, what do we do?
Yeah.
This is not me. No, this is not Meador.
Yeah. No. I should have my girlfriend answer. Just answer real sexy. Hey, stud.
Oh, wow.
Hey, big beautiful.
He's trying to get Houston killed.
Yeah, Alan just said thank God I didn't ask him what he was wearing. That's fair.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed because I didn't know him that well. This has been a few years ago. I mean, I know him somewhat, but I wasn't sure we would have that type of relationship. That seemed to break the ice, and then we're great now. I'm a big fan of that guy. He's a good dude.
It's interesting, just thinking back, and I don't know, start winding this up at least on my end, but every coach seems to have certain things to say. You mentioned Skip with turn. He would turn. With Houston, I'm sure you've picked up on what it is. I know I have. Have you picked it up?
We've got a whole list of Mike-isms on
the
one
that we always talk about is no doubt.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
No doubt.
I like when he pauses. No doubt. And he pauses for a second to get his thoughts together. There's no doubt. That's 100% right. Yeah, we got a list. I'll have to, next time I come on.
He always says to the media, watch this Meador. He always says, "How's everybody doing?
How's everybody doing? How we doing? How's everybody doing?
How we doing?"
Yeah.
That's one of my
How's everybody
favorites.
doing?
Right.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, everybody has their thing. I guess everybody has patterns of speech and things they say.
Crutches.
Yeah, crutches, exactly.
You got DK. Well,
he does well a lot. Yeah.
Bubba can do his great DK.
DK will break out, know what I'm saying. It sounds so funny because he's this old white Southern guy. And he goes, know what I'm saying. Know what I'm saying.
Or he'll say "okay" at the end of it, kind of like that Family Guy. Not Family Guy, but the South Park character.
Okay. Yeah.
He does pregame speeches. He'll do that. He's like, all right, has everybody got out? We got to do this. We got to hit fast and hard. Okay. Like, you got to hit your holes fast and hard. Okay. It's just what he was doing. Okay. Yeah. But then you got on the other side, there's nothing but screaming going on. This is a totally different vibe from defense and offense.
Yeah.
Really?
He yells. He gets after it. His stuff's good. I can't ever use it though because it's got to be clean. I can't use it when they're,
You can just play beep.
That's what it be.
It's like a very bad Jerry Springer show.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they bleep up the whole episode or a lot of it. Meador, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I know that it's going to be about 10 o'clock Eastern, so we appreciate you always, and thank you for the friendship. Thank you for always being. Yeah, it's been great having you on tonight. As always, a lot of fun times, and I like the fact you're real. That's what's I know. Kyle says
trouble, David. Gets me in a lot of trouble.
Hey man, you know what? Being Bubba, we're having a conversation the other day, Meador, and I'll say it on the air. If I was the AD at if I became the AD at East Carolina, or whoever the AD, John Gilbert, whoever replaces John Gilbert at some point in time, he won't be the AD forever. I'm not trying to run him off, just stating facts. Brian Meador should be one of your right hand men. If you are the AD at East Carolina, Meador would be my right hand man. I think, dude, you do a lot, but I think you're underutilized.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, and if there's anybody that maybe you can help the new play-by-play voice with the we're talking about that at the beginning of our conversation, but help them learn. If there's anybody that can teach them about Pirate Nation, you can.
Okay. Well, if it goes in one direction, I won't have to worry about doing that. I wish I could give you guys. I have no idea what they're going to do. I really when the IGO's list, I can be candid about this. When the IGO's list was leaked, I guess, when he got a hold of the names, the first thing that happens is I'm gonna get a call. You haven't talked to this person, that person. I'm like, no, I don't do it. And Brian Bailey knows not to ask me because I'm just like, I don't want to know, man. I'm out. But I also know this. If I did know, I could tell Bailey and he wouldn't go with it because he values our friendship too much. And he knows that I'd get in trouble. And you go get it on your own source. I'm not your source. And so he's respected that over the years and very much appreciate his side of understanding. So,
yeah, no doubt.
No doubt. All right.
Gentlemen, appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Have
a great night.
Night, guys.
Good night. Bye-bye. Appreciate Meador very much and our new friend Justin Behr for coming on tonight. You guys have anything before we're going to go?
No, just anxious to see who the play-by-play guy is going to be. I think we all have our favorites, and I don't. We've said it. I don't need to say it again. It's not gonna. We're not gonna. Nobody's going to listen to this podcast and go, you know what? We're going to hire who they want to have as the play-by-play guy. But anxious to see who it's going to be.
Yeah, they had a committee meeting today, I understand, and so they're making they may have made the offer today or sometime this week, and we'll find out if we have a new play-by-play voice. It's actually Craig. I think Craig, our good friend Craig, he's going to be the new play-by-play voice. So I'm just going to go ahead and out it right now. Craig, you're the new play-by-play voice, and when you retire from your current job, you're the new. You need to go ahead and retire, and then you can be the play-by-play voice. So that's what I think. He's in the Richmond area, so it won't be that far of a commute for you, and you come down and do the games. How about that, guys? Craig is very funny, so I guess I'll be talking about Bubba's internet or cell phone coverage or something like that. Yeah, Alan Vick, he says if the industry had about 5,000 more Brian Meadors, the broadcast industry would be a better place as the world would in general.
Yep, absolutely.
No doubt about that.
The only other thing I would add is, very quickly, MLB or minor league report. Gavin Williams had another excellent start here recently. You also have Jeff Hoffman pitching very well. He is now in the bullpen for the Philadelphia Phillies. You have Burley, who's been swinging a hot bat of late. He had a 3-for-4 game the other night. Connor Norby is red hot. He probably has, I want to say, 4 or 5 home runs in the last two weeks. Let's see. You have also Carson Wisenhunt pitching very well.
Yep.
Thomas Francisco's had a decent year. Let's see. CJ Mayhew was recently promoted. I want to say from low A to high A, but also you have Zach Agnos. Zach has 15 saves and I want to say 17 opportunities for the Fresno Grizzlies. I believe that is the Colorado Rockies organization.
That's correct.
And let's see, who else? Who have I left out? You still have Jake is still hanging on, even though he had battled an injury. Jake Agnos, that is. And then I'm sure I'll think of some that I left out. But
what about Pack? I know.
Yeah, Bryant Packard making the transition from a position player to a pitcher, and that was dictated by his injury. And pitch is something that he had done back at DH Conley.
Right.
I saw that. I want to say, he was something like 88 to 90 back then. Based on the information that I was able to dig up when we saw that on Instagram here in the last couple of days, as well as Twitter. It was being reported by a Tigers beat writer. And I believe he's actually in the greater Charlotte area when he was going through his rehab and working on becoming a pitcher. So keep an eye on that. He will probably be making his debut here in the next couple weeks, if not sooner, on the mound in the Detroit Tigers organization.
One of the quick subject matters we have to talk about before we get out of here, we've been going long tonight, is how about AMAC going to the dark side? AMAC being the third baseman for many games for the Pirates, and decided to play his last year Where would that be? Maybe NC State. There you go. Bubba's got it on the screen. Are you kidding me? I cannot believe that. And
yeah, that's as you would say, Dave, sour grapes.
Yep.
He's pissed off at Cliff Godwin, pissed off the Pirate Nation. Well, go be a wolf pack. Go on, go to Raleigh. Go ahead. Wish you nothing but the best there, AMAC, and we'll kick your ass next spring.
Hey,
as long as your head coach has the balls to play us.
Hey, Kyle. This to me, is this not the ultimate baby face going to a heel in wrestling terms?
Yeah, I don't. I see what you're saying. It's a heel move, but you know what? It's fine. He's bitter, and I think it also I think it's just a lot about NC State.
Right, that's what I was going.
Yeah,
nobody's talking about that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, everybody's free to do what they want to. It's a free country, and good luck, and maybe he can teach you how to hit. Being Cliff Godwin apparently couldn't, and hope you enjoy getting your ass kicked next year by your former teammates.
I was just thinking about that. What's the how much I love the Jungle guys, and how much I love Clark LeClaire. What about the very fact of AMAC coming back? That game, you want to talk about somebody buying tickets for that game? That game is going to be a hot ticket to get next year when the Pirates, certainly when it's very tough to get one at Doak Field. You have to be a NC State, the Pac Club or whatever it is. And then you have here, it's going to be really hard to get a ticket, or if you get one, it's going to be very expensive. But how many do you guys think that this is something I said, and I've heard other people say it on social media and radio shows today on Pirate Radio? Do you think he's going to get booed when it comes back to Clark LeClaire?
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
we boo all the NC State players.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying how loud. What I'm saying is, like, do you think it's going to be really loud and almost like?
I'm sure. I'm sure it will be. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I mean, it's and I think it's appropriate. It should be.
And let me ask you guys this: so this is going to be his 5th year, right? And I could never play at that level. I was not even barely, a high school player. But how in the world can you say, this would have been his 5th year? So he had, after 3 years, he could have gone pro. After 4 years, you can go pro, obviously. And he didn't do work the last couple of years. So I just find it hard to believe Cliff Godwin has plenty of examples of guys that are in the majors and also that are in minor leagues right now. So my understanding is he said that the coaches didn't prepare for the draft. You didn't prepare yourself for the draft, not practicing, working out, going to summer league baseball. There's a lot of, you can't put that on the coaching staff. So anyway, that's going to be a great storyline next year. You want to talk about heating up the rivalry? I just can't believe that Avent took him, but it is what it is, as they say, and that's going to be great next year. And by the way, what is the new player that we got today? Oh my gosh!
It was yesterday.
Bristol.
Kid from Seton Hall.
No. The
okay, somebody else.
Oh man, I'm so tired right now, Bubba.
Well, he's not a new player, but I mean he's been committed for quite some time. But
right.
he opted to
stay with us.
Well, he had a very high number from what I heard. I mean, Bristol Carter is how you talking about?
Carter, yeah. I was right. Okay.
From Northwest Guilford High School, very highly talented prospect, and All-American.
Speed. He's got a lot of speed on.
Yeah, All-American, unbelievable player, and Bristol Carter. Hopefully, he'll have an excellent career in the purple and gold. And just one moment, I wanted to share that tweet from Bristol Carter. This is from Steel and Hoist Colors.
Hoist Colors, okay.
But you guys carry on for a moment, and I'll share that.
Yeah, I was just going to say the great thing about Bristol Carter is, Kyle, he's our future, tremendous player. He definitely will be drafted. And, we had AMAC, and he played a lot of games, but this was going to be his 5th year. And one thing I will say to AMAC, if you were really a man, what you do is you come back, play your tail off, and then guess what? He played multiple positions, so he could have actually played somewhere.
Yeah, he moved on, so it's time for us to move on. He's gone. We'll boo him next year, and to me, that's
exactly.
I don't. I mean,
the biggest thing, for us to keep the main thing, and winning baseball games and doing what we do. Don't lose focus and just handle our business and keep doing what Pirate baseball does. But Bristol Carter said the atmosphere in the jungle here, it's insane. There's nothing like this in the country. I'm ready to go to work and ready to play in front of them.
Absolutely. Those leaps, the jungle leaps, oh my gosh, with him, it's going to be legendary for sure. By the way, I want to remind everybody too that coming up on August 5th, we have our college football preview. We're working really hard behind the scenes on that, and that'll be live at Porky's Backyard Barbecue in Williamston, 10 until noon, and they have breakfast until 10:30, so you can come by and get breakfast, or you can get lunch with us. It's going to be a lot of fun as we get you ready for the college football season. A lot of great guests. We've got some lined up, some we're working on, and of course, Kyle's going to be there, at least on the screen, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I'll at least be there digitally. Might be there in person. I'll let you know between now and then.
No doubt. All right. So, do we have anything before we go, guys?
Not a thing.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Kyle. Appreciate you, Bubba. Thanks to Justin and Brian, good old Meador, for being our guests tonight. And we'll be back with you very soon. Until the meantime, as always, go Pirates.
I'm a pirate down to my soul, and I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode, from the sidelines down to the post. Put it down like not even close, all out to the last whistle blow. From the flag of the soul and crossbones. Everybody stand up, get your hands up, let a team know that we got they back. This is our house, this is our town, our time, Rebel 19, copy that. Everybody in the stands go bananas, scream loud, baby, don't hold back. Every foot, every yard, every first down, every touchdown with the cannons blast. Get it on, get it all, get the wave going.